Hello and welcome. Today I will show you how to connect the SIMATIC Industrial Thin Client to a comfort panel. For this we will use Smart Access. But before we can use these services, we need to configure the server first. For this I will use the TIA portal. I configured already an HMI device and will now go to the Visualization tab. In here I will change the runtime settings of the device. At Services I see a checkbox Start Smart Server. I will now set the check mark in this and will download the change configuration to the device. The change configuration has now been downloaded to the device. But before we can use the server, we need to assign a password. For this, I will end the runtime. As next step, I go into the control panel and use the WinCC Internet Settings applet. Once this applet is open, there is a new tab which is called Remote. I can change the settings here. It allows me to enter two types of passwords. One password may be suitable for only visualization purposes. The second one can be used for both control and monitoring purposes. I assign a password which is suitable for both monitoring and control. In order to do this, I delete the old password and assign a new one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and acknowledge the settings with OK. I also acknowledge the message that the server has to be restarted. I close out on the applet and restart the HMI. Now the server is ready to go and I can now take care of the Industrial Thin Client. The settings of the Industrial Thin Clients will be done in 3 easy steps, and I will start with the device name. For the assignment of the device name, I simply click into the field Device Name. An on-screen keyboard pops up which I can use to type in the device name, but I can also use an externally connected keyboard. I will use that keyboard. I assign the name ITC 1500. I may also change the administrator password in this screen, which I will keep as the default for today. I go on to the next step, which deals with the network settings. The network settings consist of the IP address and the subnet mask, which could be retrieved by either by a DHCP server or by typing it in manually. I will choose the static assignment of the IP address. For this, I simply tap onto the IP input box. I assign an IP address 172.16.100.155. Tapping onto the subnet mask box, this is being pre-populated with a valid setting. So I keep that for today and go on to the next step. The next step is about the network connection settings. The connection type can be chosen using the drop-down list, and today I will use the Smart Server. I assign a connection name, which in our case is Comfort Panel. This serves for easy identification later on if I configure more than just one connection. I also have to assign the server IP address, which is 172.16.6t.104. I type in the password 1234 and I want this connection to auto start. I also want to save this connection under my favorites, and in case of loss of the connection, I want the Industrial Thin Client to reconnect to the Comfort Panel automatically. I save these changes by pushing Save and Exit. I also acknowledge the message which pops up that this settings has been saved. The device restarts now and takes over all configurations changes which we just made. The device has now been rebooted and it has established a connection to the Comfort Panel. And as you can see, they both show the same content. On the Industrial Thin Client on the lower hand, you also see a menu bar, which contains a list of favorite connections. It lists now our Comfort Panel connection as one of the favorite connections. You also have a list of active connections, which also has an entry for our comfort panel connection. On the left-hand side of the menu bar, you have access to the configuration dialog. That configuration dialog shows you a short overview about the settings of that industrial thin client. If you want to change one of these settings, that is possible by using this settings button. But before you can do this, you have to authenticate yourself as an administrator by typing in the administrator's password. You now have access in the System tab, access to the device name and also to the language settings. In the Network tab, you may change the IP address or subnet mask. Under Connections, you see a list of already configured connections which you are also able to edit, change and modify. I don't want to change anything right now, so I'm going back straight to the comfort panel. In the configuration menu, you also have access to connected USB devices, which may contain documents which you are interested in. By selecting the USB device, you see all the files which are stored on that. If they are provided in a PDF format, you can use the integrated PDF reader to read the content of these documents. In the list of active connections, you have now two more entries. One entry is the PDF reader, the second one is the Media Explorer, and the third one is the comfort panel. It allows you to quickly change between these connections. I'm changing back to the comfort panel, so I see the content of the comfort panel again. The SIMATIC Industrial Thin Client allows you to use multiple connections over long distances thanks to Ethernet very, very easy.